Asylum seekers, listen up. If you've been waiting for years for your interview at a USCIS asylum office and you're sick of these delays, then you need to watch this video to the very end. I'm going to tell you about a powerful tool for getting your asylum interview scheduled and for getting a decision. If you take action on this right now, you could have your asylum approval in your hands in just a few short months, or maybe even less time, maybe even a matter of weeks. I'm going to tell you about the mandamus lawsuit and how it can completely change your life. Stick with me to the very end of this video because I'm going to share with you a statistic that is, frankly, pretty shocking and in a very good way. I think you'll be inspired by it. I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. Let me know in the comments if you've been waiting for an asylum interview for multiple years, and I want to hear how long your case has been pending. All right, if you're weary of lingering in limbo, with your life essentially on pause because of uncertainty around whether you'll ultimately secure asylum and be able to build the life that you've envisioned in the United States, well, you should consider filing a lawsuit against the government to compel action in your asylum case. I've got to tell you, the relief that my clients experience upon finally getting their asylum interview scheduled is palpable because it's a crucial step toward winning their case and then getting permanent residency and ultimately U.S. citizenship. But you can't proceed on that path without your asylum interview. Fortunately, mandamus lawsuits are potent tools for receiving your due adjudication of your asylum claim. Here are 5 things that you need to know about mandamus claims. First, what is a mandamus lawsuit and what does this strange word mandamus mean? Well, derived from Latin, it means we command. A mandamus lawsuit petitions a federal court to compel a government agency, in this case USCIS, to fulfill its duty to you, namely scheduling your asylum interview and then giving you a decision. So with mandamus, you're asking a judge to order USCIS to do its job, to provide your asylum interview and decision. You see, USCIS must act within a reasonable time frame on any immigration application. And when they don't do that, well, you can sue them. You can bring a federal lawsuit, specifically a mandamus suit. If the judge deems USCIS's delay in your case unreasonable, well, they'll order action, which USCIS will in fact take. And you see, this tactic often succeeds where other efforts falter. Pleading calls and emails to the asylum office, congressional inquiries, and ombudsman requests, well, these rarely propel cases forward. Requests to have your case expedited due to urgent humanitarian concerns, these are also seldom effective. A mandamus lawsuit, however, packs a punch. When a federal judge speaks, USCIS listens, and it's the surest way to dislodge a stalled asylum case. All right, second, let's discuss who can benefit from a mandamus lawsuit, like who's eligible and in a good position to have it work to their advantage. Well, it's mainly about timing. I'll explain. So I mentioned earlier, the judge assesses whether your wait is reasonable, and that's pivotal. So how is reasonable defined when it comes to asylum delays? Because you need your delay deemed unreasonable to prevail with mandamus, right? If you applied, let's say 7 years ago, but you've not had your asylum interview, is that reasonable? What about just 6 months? Can you sue and expect the judge to deem it unreasonable? Here's the thing, there's no bright line test definitively separating reasonable from unreasonable delays. It's kind of a moving target that's open to interpretation. The longer you've waited, the better your odds for success with mandamus. So someone delayed a decade would have an excellent chance for success with a mandamus claim. Just about any judge would deem that kind of delay wholly unreasonable. What about suing just 6 months after applying? Are you likely to prevail in your mandamus lawsuit? Well, no, almost certainly not. That delay won't be considered unreasonable. So what about 7 years? Yes, I think you're in great shape. Extremely good chance for success under this circumstance. What about 5 years? Yes, still a very good chance for success. Now, based on court rulings and our experience filing a bunch of these lawsuits lately, I'd say that 3 years is the minimum viable wait for mandamus success. Chances are really low if you sue before 3 years post-filing your asylum application. At 3 years, the minimum threshold, there's a good chance, but it's not guaranteed. Okay, before we get to number 3 on our list, quick word on why you should seek to move your case forward as soon as possible. You see, the sooner you present your asylum case, the better your chances for success. Over time, asylum officers grow skeptical of continued fear, and country conditions can change or appear to change in a way that undermines your case. Now, I've observed these effects both as an asylum officer and now as an asylum lawyer, and I'm telling you, the sooner you have your interview, the better. By the way, if you want to maximize your chances for asylum success, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you don't miss the insights that I share here on this channel. Okay, third on our list of 5 things that you need to know about mandamus lawsuits, the practical steps involved in suing for your interview. So it all starts with filing what's called a complaint with the proper federal court, explaining your claim and legal entitlement to the desired action. Now, in mandamus lawsuits, you're detailing in the complaint the unreasonable delay and you're requesting a court order compelling USCIS to schedule your interview. Now, precise legal rules govern this very technical document. I strongly advise hiring a lawyer for this complex federal litigation. So once filed, we serve the defendants, typically this means DHS, USCIS, and the Asylum Office Director, officially notifying them of the lawsuit and triggering a 60-day period during which the government lawyer has to come back and tell the judge what the government's position is on the lawsuit. And then, magically, the government often moves to settle within their 60-day response window, offering the interview if we'll agree to dismiss the lawsuit. If we presented a solid, unreasonable delay claim, then the government lawyer knows that continuing and actually fighting the case to the end in court isn't worth it. So they frequently capitulate to avoid a protracted battle. And then we agree to pause the proceedings, but we won't dismiss the case until USCIS gives you both your interview and your decision. So remember how I said the government's lawyer usually calls us within 60 days of us sending them the copy of the lawsuit and offers to settle? Well, that settlement offer includes the provision to us of the asylum interview notice. That's right, they get the interview scheduled and they let us know about it by way of an official interview notice. That's the letter that you've been waiting on for so long. So now, finally, your case is set to move forward. Okay, fourth, let me be more specific about the actual timeline. When can you expect to get your asylum interview and decision if you sue the government? Well, it varies. There are no guarantees here, and we've been seeing some varying timeframes. But I can tell you that based on our experience of late, if you account for the practical steps that we need to take in my office to present your lawsuit, and then you account for, everything happening on the government side, well, the interviews have been occurring around 3 months on average after we file the mandamus lawsuit. Again, there's no guarantee that it'll happen that way in your case, but that's generally the timeline that we've been seeing, with some cases taking longer than others to move forward. And then after the asylum interview, the decision tends to follow swiftly, often within weeks, as we maintain the pressure on USCIS by refusing to dismiss the lawsuit until they've given you your decision. Okay, fifth and last, but certainly not least, will suing undermine your asylum claim? Unequivocally, no. Listen, asylum officers might not even know that you've sued, and they are in fact aware. Well, I expect understanding. You see, litigation is an accepted recourse here in the United States for moving forward stalled immigration matters. And in our culture here, suing just isn't a big deal. Also, the officer can't legally factor the lawsuit into the decision on your underlying asylum case, which must solely analyze your objective eligibility for asylum. To be clear, I don't worry at all about the fact that we've sued to force an interview potentially affecting our client's underlying asylum claim. I'm just not seeing that happen. All right, finally, to make good on the promise that I made earlier about an inspirational statistic, 100%. That's my law firm's success rate so far at the time that I'm filming this video in mandamus suits brought to compel USCIS to schedule an interview and issue a decision. Every single time. The government has quickly scheduled the interview to avoid protracted litigation. Our clients have gotten what they wanted and what they deserve. They got to have their claim heard. They got to explain their case and get a decision, allowing them to move on from this phase in their lives. Now, let me be clear. Past success does not guarantee future results. So there are definitely no guarantees of future success with any mandamus suit, but I am immensely proud of our record thus far, and I hope that it motivates you considering this powerful means to secure your long-awaited asylum interview and decision. If you're ready to take the next step and get help with your asylum case or to talk more about mandamus, then call my office today, okay? The number is 713-909-0401. And remember, we help people all over the country, so it really does not matter at all where you live. Call us now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to support you in your asylum journey.